Trial of 18-year-old Karmelo Anthony continues today in Collin County after last year's fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf during a Frisco ISD track meet. WFAA's Rebecca Lopez has the latest.
After days of large crowds and loud demonstrations, things were noticeably calmer outside the Collin County Courthouse Saturday. But inside, the biggest surprise of the trial so far may have come from prosecutors themselves. After days of testimony from student athletes, coaches, first responders, and the medical examiner, the state rested its case. One notable absence, Hunter Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's twin brother. He has not been allowed inside the courtroom during testimony because he remains a potential witness. Prosecutors could still call him later in rebuttal. One of the final prosecution witnesses, a mutual friend of both Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony. He testified that after Anthony was asked to leave the memorial team tent, the confrontation escalated. He told jurors Anthony said, "Touch me and find out." He later testified, "I saw Austin fall back and yell, 'I've been stabbed.'" He also told the jury Anthony was not a close friend of his. But on cross-examination, defense attorneys challenged his account, showing jurors photos of him and Anthony together and questioning why he didn't step in to defuse the situation. When asked who was at fault for the stabbing, he responded, "I don't know."
When something like this happens, you're going to have witnesses.
And with the defense resting its case in the Karmelo Anthony murder trial. Closing arguments are scheduled for tomorrow after testimony ends this afternoon without the defendant, who claims he stabbed Austin Metcalf in self-defense, taking the stand. JD Miles is live outside the Collin County Courthouse with more on the trial. JD.
Karen, the defense presented only 3 witnesses today before resting. There was a lengthy break stretching from late morning to mid-afternoon when we thought that they might be prepping Karmelo Anthony to testify. But in the end, he and his attorneys chose not to have him speak directly to the jury, which will begin deliberating his fate tomorrow.
4 days of testimony in the Karmelo Anthony murder trial ended with 2 high school track athletes testifying about what they saw on the day Austin Metcalf was stabbed to death in a Frisco stadium. They both backed up defense claims that Anthony's decision to enter the Memorial High School tent was normal. How is the culture around a track meet different than a football game? They're really social, so everybody would know each other, see each other, say hi, really social. Is that only on...
You know, I'm sitting here thinking about a video that I saw earlier. It was Benny. Benny had a certain take, and he believed because this was done so quick that this guy's got to be guilty. Let's hear from Benny right quick. I'm not going to play the whole thing because there's some sides here that I think are questionable about what he said. But I want you to hear this from Benny, his response right off the bat.
Simpson trial took years to reach a verdict. The Kyle Rittenhouse and Derek Chauvin trials took months. The Karmelo Anthony trial is now over after less than a week in Texas. A very bad sign for Karmelo Anthony. A quick trial and a quick verdict means you are demonstrably guilty and there's nothing else to debate. As Karmelo Anthony...
I'm not a lawyer, obviously. I grew up watching all the famous trials like you have. I don't know, unless he knows something, how could he come to that conclusion? I tell you what I'm feeling as I did this research. I said, Pearson, we're less than a month from our 250th anniversary. That is the 4th of July. And we should all be proud of that because we are the melting pot. The melting pot. Now, to be symbolic about a melting pot, we could all be visualized as candles or stretch it as firecrackers. I see a lot of small firecrackers throughout America and the world. I see the racial tension, like I said, the last week and a half, what is it? Coming up against the Asians. I saw videos saying black people was ordering food, fraudulent orders of food from Asians, because now there's this, Asian hate out. I see this Karmelo Anthony situation. I see economic tension. I see wars overseas. I see short fuses. If Benny's right, and the verdict's already in, and let's say we find this out in 48 hours, that melting pot could add to an inferno about the time we hit July 4th. And the country that we all love, cherish, put our feet on, it could be very well physically challenged and unrecognizable in some spots. They just need a spark. I've been showing you guys videos on this situation ever since it started. I don't believe it. I believe the powers hatched it up. And it's got so many holes in it, I'm like, Pearson, you got to deal with it, because as an American, I want peace. And if I think that it smells and stinks to high heaven, that is false, I'm going to speak on it. The 5 C's don't fail me. And common sense sure don't fail me. And the powers, they know how to brew this stuff. They know how to divide us. They are social planners and social engineers. And they've done it not only in America, but around the world. It's our turn because we're the biggest Humpty Dumpty, arguably, yet to fall. So the goal is to make us implode, because we still have our so-called rights with the Bill of Rights in our Constitution. And you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. When America runs out of everything, here comes the race car. It's pitiful. Really pitiful. Now, let me show you guys something. Austin Metcalf. He was born July 31st, 2007. His birthday, subtracted from today, June 8th, 2026, that's his birthday. I get 18 years. He would have been 18 years old today, and 444. Barack Obama's the 44th president. Is this thing chicanically being manipulated? And that name, Karmelo Anthony, remember, it was a basketball player named Karmelo Anthony with that birthday, May 29th. He plays for the Knicks. And the Knicks play tonight. How fitting how today they reached this decision. That is, they don't have to hit testimony anymore. I would assume that's what it means. You know, one thing I forgot to mention in the last video I did a few days ago about this. This happened in Texas. This happened in Dallas. And JFK died in Dallas. And they're saying this young man died in Dallas or Texas. Don't beat me up, but you get the point. And he would go with the knife thing again, just like the video I produced earlier, the knife. You see, there's this Julius Caesar vibe. This is what I want you guys to understand. Satan doesn't discount his strategy. Satan doesn't discount his strategy. He's full force with it. And he's going to hit you in so many ways. And so I decoded. So just like his birthday is May 29th, guess what? So is JFK. And JFK was taken out on November 22nd, 1963. Subtract that from today, 62 years ago, and 624. What is 624? There's this mini movie that came out on 6/24 of 2012. It's called I Pet Goat 2. And I Pet Goat 2, there are a lot of scenes in there. One in particular, Barack Obama has a V on his head. The V is the 22nd letter of the alphabet. And just like I showed you guys earlier, let me see if I erased it. When I showed you that Snoop Dogg piece with Trump stamped on a microphone earlier, yesterday. Trump also, yeah, I still have it. Here's the deal. Trump yesterday stepped on a microphone. Well, I mentioned earlier that Trump also stepped on a cigarette in Snoop Dogg movie Lavender. And next to him is the number 22. See that? There's 22. And there's Trump's foot. He's stepping on a cigarette because he was smoking a cigarette. And yesterday, Trump, he stepped on a microphone. Remember? He was interviewed. I did that video. What's my point? The 22. The 22nd letter of the alphabet is V. And in this video, there's nothing but destruction. And in the video, I Pet Goat 2, you have the V. And in the video Lavender, that Snoop Dogg is in, he's popping a dummy Trump who becomes unalive, right? You would think. But he's next to number 22. 22 is violence because he sweats this thing. I say he sweats it. Why? Because all hell's about to break loose. He's sitting in a classroom, that is Obama, waiting to graduate. As the clock strikes 12, and all the buildings, everything behind him falls apart. The planes are shooting bombs, and the ships are getting hit apparently and going into the sea. The flag shreds in two, and the arm of the Statue of Liberty is cut off and falls. And then as this sun god goes through an arch, a tunnel, if you will, some type of portal, nothing but hell, boulders fall, everything's collapsing. Like I said in yesterday's video, Satan's dawn is midnight. That's his birth. So for him to come on the planet, there has to be terror, there has to be chaos. So as I'm looking at this Karmelo Anthony situation, I look back at 6/24/12 when I Pet Goat was made, in which Barack Obama was in. And I take that date and subtract it from today. I get 13 years and 11/22. And you might ask, what is 11/22? That matches the day that JFK died. See, many times these stories that they put out here on all these alphabet news stations, they're not going to give you what I'm going to give you. I got a gift and I stayed in the library since I was 16 or 17. All I did was study because I had a handicap. I still have it to a certain extent. I studied and I just stayed in the library and I read a lot about history, never thinking I'd be doing this as I got older. But now it's paying off because I can see through the BS. What's BS? Baby socks don't fit. It's interesting, isn't it? Now, the last time JFK was in New York was October 19th, 1963. Take that date, right here, subtract it from today, 62 years ago, and 7/21. Did you know that on 7/21, that's when Joe Biden wrote a letter and said he's no longer running for president? Did you know that on 7/21? He wrote a letter. See, this is how the powers speak. 7/21/2024. Take that date, subtract it from today, and you get a year ago and 46 weeks. Wasn't Joe Biden the 46th president? Yeah. And I did a video a few days ago letting you know, I don't think he'll be around too much longer either. The 46 matches Biden. Because many times they can be in the now, pull and draw from the past to tell you the future. You see, according to former President Gerald Ford, he saw in the future there could be a female president. He was at the Hoover Library when he said that. Herbert Hoover died on October 20th, 1964. Well, that was the same day that Kamala Harris was born. And I'm telling you, she's going to be the one to be the president. That's why Joe said he wasn't going to run no more. Because it was more about her than it was about him. October 18th, 89, that's when Gerald Ford said that. June 8th is today. The verdict came in. 36 years ago, 7/21. 7/21, Joe said, I'm not running for president no more. And now his wife running around doing a book deal. Let's listen to that. Okay. Here we go. Waiting on that commercial, right? Arsenio, let's kick it.
Mr. Ford, what advice would you give a young lady wanting to become President of the United States?
Well, I hope we do have a young lady at some point become President of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president. And the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die, and the woman will become president under the law or constitution.
Not your normal circumstances, he said. That's what's going to happen. Gerald Ford died on 12/26/06. He died. Former president who just made that speech. Take that date, subtract it from today. 19 years ago, 5/14. 5/14, that's Israel's birthday. This war is going to make all that happen. That's the gift that I have. I see it. I've studied enough to put two and two together. It's amazing. It's peculiar. I get it. Because I understand the structure. President, Vice President, Speaker of the House. I get it. America's going down. Trump is playing a role. The reason why the powers chose two old men, arguably the two oldest men to be president in a short period of time in all of our 250-year history. It was done on purpose. One couldn't stand up, one couldn't walk up the stairs, one just kept falling down, and one's a sure enough clown. And that's how we're going to be looked at. We can't get up, and we clowned our way into an eternity. I'm going to keep decoding. I'm going to keep telling you like it is. You might not agree, but when it happens, we're going to do it live. And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to pray about it. Somebody put in the last video I did, Pearson, we might not even be here when all this go down. We might not be here. So hopefully this stuff will reach people who are still here. Because God's grace is still efficient. It's still sufficient. Well, we'll see what happens with the basketball game tonight. There might be a sign in there tonight. Will Trump still go to the game? Will something happen? This Karmelo Anthony verdict, when will it come down? Again, I see all these small little firecrackers. They're going to come together at some point because the powers want civil war. That's how they get us. But it ain't totally us. They've hired hundreds of thousands of people, agents, if you will, to make all this stuff happen. Then the police will do what they do. Because, you know, all them ain't really human. Oh, Pearson, did you say that? Oh, I've been meaning to do a video on that. You see, if you catch all the videos on all the technology and how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that look like us, how can I say this? They have this robotic-like, but yet they got this. I don't think every police officer we look at is really in God's image. You think about it. They need allegiance. And they make allegiance because they don't play fair. I told you, Satan go hard. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomsoever believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Do you know him? It's time. I do these videos every day. Hell or high water. No or dry land. We all got to make a decision. The Bible says one day, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that he's Lord. He sacrificed for you and me. It's the gift of life. Give your life back to him. God bless you.